We are familiar with nutmeg as a ubiquitous spice. But this warm spice also has a very interesting composition and history. Did you know that nutmeg and mace are actually siblings? These two are from the same fruit of the nutmeg tree Myristica fragrans. The nutmeg is the oval-shaped pit, which is the fruit, and mace is the bright red webbing that surrounds the shell of the pit. The mace is removed, dried and then ground into a coarse powder that turns a reddish color. The nutmeg can either be dried and left whole and packaged for grating, or dried and grated fresh. These two spices have a long and interesting history, traveling from Indonesia to England, and because of their high value, wars were fought to control trade. The taste between nutmeg and mace is slightly different, with mace being more pungent and spicier, similar to the combination of cinnamon and pepper. And nutmeg can be described as less intense than its sibling, with a sweetness similar to cinnamon but more piquant. Both spices actually include some of the same oils that flavor pepper and cloves. Even though they have similar uses in recipes, they are both rarely used together. We find that nutmeg does have a sweeter, more delicate flavor and fragrance than mace. For best nutmeg flavor, purchase whole nutmegs and grate them by using the smallest grater holes just before adding them to your recipe. The nutmeg tree is evergreen, with oblong egg-shaped leaves and small, bell-like light yellow flowers that give off a distinct aroma when in bloom. The fruit is light yellow with red and green markings, resembling an apricot or a large plum. As the fruit matures, the outer fleshy covering, which is candied or pickled as snacks in Malaysia, bursts to reveal the seed. The seed is covered with red membranes called anario, which is the mace portion of the nutmeg. The seed is then dried for up to 2 months until the inner nut rattles inside the shell. The shell is then removed to reveal the valuable egg-shaped edible nutmeg. Second-rate nuts are pressed for the oil, which is used in perfumes and in the food industry. Botanically known as Myristica fragrans, the nutmeg tree originates in Banda, the largest of the Malacca spice islands of Indonesia. The English word nutmeg comes from the Latin nux, meaning nut, and muscat, meaning musky. You may be wondering why a spice we used to sprinkle over a Christmas-time beverage would cause so much blood and turmoil. Turns out nutmeg was fashionable among the wealthy as a hallucinogenic. The intoxicating spice could make you feel as if you were floating. It also was prized for its curative and culinary uses. In the 14th century, half a kilogram of nutmeg cost as much as 3 sheep or a cow. In 1760, the price of nutmeg in London was 85 to 90 shillings per pound, a price kept artificially high by the Dutch voluntarily burning full warehouses of nutmegs in Amsterdam. Frenchman Pierre Poivre transported nutmeg seedlings to Mauritius, where they flourished, aiding in ending the Dutch monopoly of the spice. The British East India Company brought the nutmeg tree to Penang, Singapore, India, Sri Lanka, the West Indies, and most notably Grenada, where it is the national symbol and proudly emblazoned on the country's red, yellow, and green flag. In manufacturing, nutmeg oil is used as a fragrance in soaps and cosmetics. Nutmeg oil is distilled from worm-eaten nutmeg seeds. The worms remove much of the starch and fat, leaving the portions of the seed that are rich in oil.